Welcome back. We are here for the Between Dancing on Strings, episode 4. So, as we normally do, especially because we had Marybelle out last week, if everyone else would be so good as to provide a short recap of what they remember their characters being involved in or doing last time, and then we will jump right back into the a review of the threats, basically. Okay? So, whomever wants to start.
Val and Daymond went to the Greenwich Hospital to question Lieutenant Allardyce, the middle of the three people with that name. Got some information out of him. I'm drawing a blank on exactly what now. But then also then split up to try and track down the other two individuals. And there was a discussion about how to attempt to prove that they were one and the same. And Mr. Gray came up with the lovely idea to scar the child and see if the scar showed up on the old man, um, which he then did with a invocation of his dark entities. And indeed, the scar did show up on the old man. And Val encountered the old man, who seemed to start dislocating in time somehow, which um, Val found very interesting, saying something to the effect of, "You're the first other one I've ever seen."
Was that James Artlist?
Yes, we to fill in just a little bit more about what we learned, that the HMS Whippet uncovered a piece of star metal pulled deep from the sea, and that is what we believe drove everyone. Madness is the wrong word, but started this saga of the Jameses. Daymond also forced the younger one into a pact, for the sake of the scar, promising him that I'd show him exactly where his father was, sending him down the path that would inevitably lead him to the HMS Whippet and being sent out of time. So, and just for the cherry on top, all of this was done in a confessional. And the scar may or may not be an inverted cross or a right way up cross. It's actually impossible to tell.
As I recall, Kemuel sought employment at one of the mills where he met the owner of the mill as well as Joshua Cross, the brother of Elizabeth, who had been found in the river stained red. Joshua himself had really prominent stains on both of his arms. And Kemuel, I don't know if if he was convinced by Kemuel, but he was certainly escorted by Kemuel out of the factory to the mortuary, where they had a discussion about his memories of his sister, and spoke with Hattie briefly. And what else? I think Kemuel gave Joshua a gold watch to tide him over while he was seeking more amenable employment, and got spotted by the six-eyed entity.
Okay. So, as a review, we ended in mostly through dusk phase. But the question was, or what we had on the table was to look at the questions to see which or if any you wanted to answer before night phase to determine what you wanted to do, okay? So, taking a look at it, for the monochromatic men of Three Mills Island, you have a complexity 6 or a complexity 8. You currently have 8 clues on the board. So, really, I mean, if you want to run with one of those questions, you could. Okay? Mean times in Greenwich. You have the lateral question, which is which James Allardyce belongs to this time period and how has he fallen victim to the anomaly. That's a complexity 2 that can be answered separately from the resolution questions. And you can either resolve mean times with a complexity 4 or a complexity 6. So you have 4 clues on the board for that. Okay? So do more investigation, do more answer a question now, whichever you want to try for. Yeah. So before I ask what people want to do for night phase, okay, do we want to answer any of the questions that are on the board for either threat?
I wouldn't mind giving monochromatic men a go, but I don't really have a theory.
I mean, it really depends on what question you'd like to, or how you'd like to resolve the threat. So, if you want to answer who wants to open a portal and why for complexity 6, you would resolve the threat by convincing them the risks outweigh the costs, or by destroying them. Or if you want to try for the complexity 8, that is asking how does the ritual work? And you would resolve the threat by controlling or stopping the next key component of the procedure at the ritual, ruining any further attempt at it until the stars align again in 1,000 years' time. So, what's a more permanent solution for that particular threat, right? And then, of course, mean times at Greenwich, flat roll at answering complexity 4, unless you just want to answer the whole James Allardyce thing and then see what happens with that question.
Yeah, I was looking at that one. I'd like to go for the 2 complexity one.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know that the clues actually fit it super well. I mean, we can.
Well,
I do have something for that if we're going with the older James. Because we've got visitors from another time and place. We do have 2 other Jameses who have visited from another time and place. And quite simply, it could be that this James has an odd lump of that star metal stashed away in his pensioner's belongings. But if others have other thoughts.
it depends on if you want to roll flat on that or if you want to try and add another clue to kind of give a little bit more support to your theory. It's funny the way it's written because it says which James Allardyce belongs to this time period and how has he fallen victim to the anomaly. However, it makes it sound like the resolution for that, if you're right, is that helping the present James Allardyce remain in this time and the others move on. I guess, whomever you determine is the actual present, like one that belongs to this time, then that's the one that stays. And then you have to figure out how to get everybody else to mosey.
Yeah, in my mind, I think you're right that the oldest one is the one that makes sense because the middle one is kind of obviously bound up in the whole anomaly thing.
Okay.
And the child, there was some description of him being like out, not fitting in well at the school or something.
He's an ostracized, bullied child, and that's
Right, and
not
who
befitting
probably
the
doesn't
man.
understand what's happened to him, or how he got there, maybe.
So which of these clues would you like to support your theory that it's the oldest James Allardyce that belongs here?
Well, I guess the visitors from another time and place would suggest that you know, the other two, for the reasons we just talked about, are, you know, the youngest one is kind of out of time, not fitting in. The middle one is the one who kind of stumbled into this entire situation, ended up on this ship. We know he wasn't on the manifest of the ship, right? So
Right.
he,
Yeah.
which suggests he ended up there by some means other than.
Given that he wasn't on the manifest of the ship, it could be that the ship's logs indicate that they found a man overboard, and we just can't read them
Right.
because they're waterlogged and covered in rambling script.
Okay. That's 2 clues. You want to roll flat, or do you want to add one of the other ones just to support your theory?
We could, like that, the idea you had of the star medal being in his possession kind of could get us a +1. I don't know how we could possibly get the tune in there.
So
I had a thought about the tune.
Oh,
Is that maybe when hearing this strangely compelling tune, listening carefully, there was some verse about a mother, maiden, and crone, with the emphasis, you know, on you know, the distinctions between them as kind of an oblique reference.
the
like
3
it.
ages that,
Yeah.
of him, yeah.
Oh, wow. I like it. I mean, if you want to add that, you can add that +1. You can save the star medal clue for one of the other questions if you'd like. You know. So who's rolling on the meantimes? James Allard's question. 2d6 +1.
Given that this was all of our theories, shall we split the question roll? 1 die for one person, 1 die for another?
Who's
Sure.
rolling?
What do you, well, Daymond and Val were the
Right.
prime
I think
investigators,
that
so why
makes
don't we do
sense.
that?
Yeah.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Sounds good.
Okay, I have a die.
I have
All
a
right.
die too.
Ready?
Yeah.
Well, oh, great.
Don't tell me I
A
rolled
1.
highest. Oh,
Wait, what?
good.
I got a 1.
3.
So that's a 5 total.
Well, we won't roll any more questions.
Either we're wrong about this or we put on a mask.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I just don't have the 5.
But everyone would have to do that, right?
Yes.
Yes. Everyone has to agree to do it. Yes.
Do we have a threat mask for this one? Or did we use
Yes.
it already?
Yes. I don't think you used it yet.
No, we used Mask of Dim Carcosa, not Mask
Yes.
of
That's
the
right.
Clock.
Yeah.
But only one person can take that, you know, that as their mask, even though everyone has to do it. You know what I mean?
So, to the group,
What do you-
we putting on a mask, or are we bouncing over to 3 Mills Island to figure out that one?
Because if you let it stand, you are wrong, and I get to react.
I'm fine to put on a mask. I'm also
fine to put on a mask.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay, whatever with that.
Should we do the threat mask, and then that way, because that would be all of us narrating anyway, right?
Yes, but then everybody else has to pick out. Like one person would pick the threat mask, and then everybody else would have to do.
I see.
It is.
I'm happy to. I've got past and future ready to go, so I'm happy to do one of those. So if someone else wants to pick the threat mask, go ahead.
I mean, well, you definitely want to use it before you finish.
Mm-hmm.
You resolve the threat completely, otherwise you lose it. But nobody's in dire straits yet. So just tell me which mask you're using if you're going to bump up the roll. Daymond?
I will go with Mask of the Past.
Okay. Val?
I will also go with Mask of the Past.
Okay. Marybelle?
I'll mark the threat mask.
Okay. I'll tell you what that is in a second. And Kemuel?
I will do the Cosmic Passage.
Nice.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
that's
because my
fun for the
masks,
undeniable. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
my masks are backwards. My mask of the past is the moss-covered gate,
Okay.
because the Errant's marks
Yep.
future and past have flipped around.
I love that stuff. That is so fun. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Um, yeah, Undeniable has a fun one for Cosmic Passage. What does your moss-covered gate entail? Does it entail a narration or something
It
mechanical?
does, yeah. It does
Okay.
entail a narration. So
Okay. Let me give you the mask of the clock. Give me half a mo. There we go. Mask of the clock. Each hunter narrates a flashback to a pivotal moment in their past. What would they have done differently if given another chance? Do they regret the choice that they made? Which means that everybody has 2 masks except for Marybelle. Although Kemuel gets activated when you so choose. Okay? Okay. So, if you have the masks ready now, you can, or you can wait until the end of the night phase.
I can do my past now if you like, and then I'll need to think about the clock.
That's fine. Yeah.
If everyone's cool with that. I don't know if anyone else wants to go first though.
Just remember to give us the prompt first before you narrate, okay?
Absolutely. The Mask of the Past, the moss-covered gate. 1348. You are a founding member of the Order of the Garter during the reign of Edward III. Your order was charged with subduing the Welsh worm, Idraich Goch, which I'm probably pronouncing very bad. How did your encounter with the beast change you? So, we have a montage. We hear the rumble of hooves. A horse races across a field. The knight on its back lowers his lance, judging the move perfectly, and his opponent is thrown backwards out of his saddle amid a cloud of shards of the lance seeming to explode on impact. The victorious knight wheels and parades before the onlookers. He throws up his visor, and we see a young man's face with soft, dark eyes, the hint of a moustache above the proud smile. He reins in before a beautiful young woman in a green dress. He lifts his helmet off, revealing a thatch of thick blonde hair cut square around his head. Blushing, the lady removes the silk scarf at her throat and ties it to the knight's lance as he dips it toward her. He cannot help but grin as their eyes meet, and she smiles at him demurely in turn. Another knight rides up alongside him with a black shield emblazoned with 3 white feathers, and the knight bows his head at once. My congratulations, Sir Valentine. My prince, returns Sir Valentine. Attend me on the morrow, sir. I have a quest befitting your prowess. And at that point, we cut to a frantic splashing and shouting. And there's a pond next to the square base tower of a small castle. Sir Valentine is in the coils of a monstrous tail as the worm's fanged maw rears above him. It's dark and the rain is lashing down. He thrusts frantically with his arming sword before being pulled down into the water. The lifeless corpse of another knight lies at the water's edge, blood still draining from a grievous wound in his torso. Sir Valentine is flung free and the worm's tail, swinging wildly, smashes stones from the tower. With a groan, the tower starts to collapse. We cut again. The interior of a thatched building, flickering candlelight. Sir Valentine is lying in a straw bed. He is pale and weak, not fully conscious. A girl is wiping at his brow with a wet rag. A man enters, his face clouded, and he exchanges harsh words in Welsh with the girl. One more cut. Sir Valentine gazes up a steep escarpment to the ruins of the fortification at the top. The rain is falling, and the stone underfoot is slick, and movement is difficult as the knight's armor has been crudely augmented with iron spikes welded to the plates of his chest, shoulders, elbows, hips, and knees. The once bright armor is dented and discolored. Despite that, the lady in green's favor is still tied around Sir Valentine's throat. His battered shield emblazoned with a white dragon and his sword slung on his back, the knight starts to climb the steep path. Somewhere above, the worm waits.
Thank you. All right. That everyone can do their masks, at the end of night phase. Okay? So, what would you all like to do for night phase?
Just out of curiosity, did we also want to answer the question for Three Mills Island or no?
I have a forming theory
Okay.
if we want to kind of bounce some ideas around.
Why not?
I'm
Which one did you want to
thinking,
answer?
The first one.
Okay.
I'm thinking. Oh no, where's my notes? I literally just wrote some notes.
Who wants to open a portal and why? Resolve the threat by convincing them the risks outweigh the costs or by destroying them. That's complexity 6. So, what would you like to use?
So Cora Adamsworth is the mill owner, right? And she's
Yes.
like trying to encourage scabs. She's operating her mill during a labor dispute. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hate that. So I want her to be the bad guy.
Interesting.
What I'm
okay.
thinking is that she
And we're
knows
recording
about...
this on Labor Day, so that would be very
It's
appropriate.
Labor
Oh,
Day
wow.
today, so
Yes.
yeah. So I'm thinking that she knows about the potential for this portal to open up, that when the stars align in a specific way, if you have the right ingredients, I suppose, the portal will open up over Three Mills Island.
Mhm.
And I think she knows that because it's in that book, that what was
Almanac of
the
the
book called? The
Hyades.
Almanac? Yeah, the
Mm.
Almanac of the Hyades. And I think she is hoping to open up the portal so that she can bring creatures, beings from the other dimension into this dimension to work in her mill for free under less than good circumstances. We know that one of the clues is a modern manuscript of procedures that lists colors as components to be combined to create bizarre medical effects. I'm thinking lack of free will, lobotomies.
Amazing.
Yep.
Mm.
We know that there's a lot of references both in the clues and in the intro and the information that we have found to purple being specifically mentioned a few times. We know that there was a man perfectly purple in color that turned up in the river or turned up in the river. We know that the newspaper rag, the handwritten note that said next purple, then 3 orange, then bone. I think that is written by Cora. I think she is determining that purple is not the color that is going to work for her, because people with purple don't lack the free will that she needs them to lack. She's testing this out on people, you see, before she opens up the portal. One of the reasons we know that is because we have found the remains of someone she has killed because of her experiments and removed their limbs and heads so they wouldn't be recognizable. We also know that because we found that coin with the bright purple edge. Now this coin is like 1,000 years old. So back 1,000 years ago when this portal opened before, somebody else had become colored purple, stole from their employer that had the same kind of idea. I'm thinking this is like a family story that Cora's family tells. That's how her family got rich, and now she's trying to, keep the family rich, or at least get them back to being rich. But yeah, I think they stole all of these coins. The reason that the edge of the coin is purple is because the color of that person's skin rubbed off on the coin, and they buried the coins so that they can come back to their treasure later once they've helped their family. But it never really got unburied. Over time, most of the coins got found and lost, but we found this one somehow. We know that this is needing the portal to get creatures from another realm because it's been done before with Cora's family. And they've been to this other location where these things have come from, which is where the star charts with the weird constellations come from this other place that has a different night sky. It also is the depiction of the skeleton walking down a yellow road. I think that's what would come through, is like weird skeletal creatures. Maybe not necessarily a skeleton, but that's how they were depicted by the people 1,000 years ago who went there. And that's the type of creature she's trying to bring across to work in her mill.
And it also ties into the colours because you've got orange, then bone, which is
That's her
skeleton being the
testing.
bone.
Yeah, that's her like testing motif for her experiments. I think too that when I don't remember who the side, I think this is not, I wasn't here for this one, a side character talking about a dim path as a way to reach enlightenment. The dim path, there's no colors there. It's lack of color because of the dimness. Color only shows up when there's light reflecting off of something, right? So I think that also ties into how the colors can change things. If you don't want your brain changed magically, experiencing life in the dim path would be the way to do it. And maybe in Cora's like home, in the way they all grow up, is that all the lights are really, really dimmed so that nobody really experiences a lot of color because they know that this is a thing. Don't know about Randall Newcastle's hidden constellation tattoo, but
I think I can pull that one in.
Mm.
It's a simple red herring. Randall Newcastle, the night of his first story being published, got drunk and ended up with a tattoo. He just doesn't remember it. He's ashamed to admit it. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. The fact that he's working this, unrelated. It's him being an overly excited journalist, excited about a publishing piece, and that's the end of that tattoo. He's nothing but a celebratory drunk.
that's a great kind of drunk.
The better kind.
Yeah, better than a crying drunk.
All right, so we're saying that, pardon. So basically, we're saying that Cora Adamsworth is trying to perpetuate the family tradition of these color experiments to bring about this this breach. Like, you know, it's starting to open now again, and like now she's just trying to cash in on it. Capitalism, as always.
Free labor.
Free labor, yeah, exactly. And let's see, solve the threat by
It doesn't even have to be family because, you know,
or just
she's found the
discovering
information.
it.
And I'm
Yeah.
also wondering, like, because something jumps out about the description of Hattie Helmley, that she's far too pale, almost bone white, which seems significant with the bone step in
maybe she was the last person to have the experiment run and it worked.
Yeah, like it's drained the color from her, or she ties into the, you know, the 3 orange then bone, and that's her somehow or something.
Yeah, could be. You just
maybe she's helping.
She does do alchemical processes at the mortuary. So, I mean, it's really dependent upon what you think is going on behind the scenes towards this end for opening up the rift and, you know, letting things come through. So you basically are going to either convince them that the risks outweigh the costs, or you destroy them. That is the resolution for this particular question.
Are we burning her mill to the ground?
Sometimes you gotta burn it to the ground. We'll see.
Or did you want to, because you're using all 8 clues, did you want to use, like, roll flat on the how does the ritual work? Since that's kind of like a little bit what you're describing. Basically, you're going to control or stop the key components or the procedure, and then stop the hole from completely opening again until 1,000 years from now. In which
I feel like that's like 1,000 years from now's problem.
Yeah, that's a Kemuel problem. That's a Kemuel problem.
Kemuel and Val can deal with that. That's a Kemuel and Val problem. Not a Marybelle problem.
So again, it's like it's your choice. So I mean, like, how do you want to resolve it? You can either do the first one or the second one.
Does anyone have anything to add to the theory, or have any preference as to which one we do?
You just roll flat.
I mean, they kind of come out the same, right? Because
do you just get the +2 with the complexity 6?
I'm gonna go with the one with the +2 then.
I kind of like the possibility of burning down the mill. So
yeah,
there you go. Destruction. Absolutely.
We haven't burned down anything in a while.
Destruction on capitalism. It's okay. Okay, so basically a +2 on that.
All right, I can roll it with my trophy dice.
Go ahead.
Let's go, trophy
Get
dice.
those masks ready.
Oh Lord, no, it's a +2, so it's a 7.
Okay. It just means it's gonna be dangerous. That's all.
Oh no. We'll probably have to
Oh
use the masks
yes.
then.
Yes, exactly. So, hold everything in reserve, people. All right, great. So, yeah, it's gonna be dangerous. You're gonna, and this was the +2.
Yeah, I rolled a 5.
Okay. All right, great. So anyway, yes, you're gonna
And
convince
my dark
or
die was high.
okay, got it. Even better. Ruin on you. Okay.
Oh well.
Uh, we love it. All right. So you're gonna convince Cora to stop because it's too risky.
hmm
She doesn't know what she's doing, or you're gonna have to destroy
How
them.
good's my what's my presence like? Oh, my presence isn't. Oh, but I haven't changed my stuff. Okay, well, don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
Okay. So with that, now that we've answered 2 questions, where do people want to go for this night phase? At least
I'd-
one person
I'd
has
like
to
to
be
go to
resolving
3
the threat.
mills.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to go to 3 mills.
Alrighty. So we got Marybelle going to 3 mills. Okay.
If he's not needed at Three Mills Island, Daymond would like to take a look at. As much as I'd love to talk with Millicent Bryant about everything that's happened, the HMS Whippet is calling.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because Val has not really been involved in the 3 mills.
Okay.
And
Do I get to go do this by myself? 'Cause
they
it's
are extremely
hilarious.
interested in whatever's going on with Allardyce.
Okay, so are you going to the observatory to talk to Millicent, or are you going with Daymond to the Whippet?
I think I'll go with Daymond to the Whippet if Daymond is okay with that.
As long as we aren't leaving Marybelle alone, absolutely. Otherwise, Daymond will go with Marybelle.
Kemuel,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
I think Kemuel would go to Three Mills Island, as that is where he's gone every day thus far.
3 mills and HMS Whippet. And with that, going to introduce the unseen for this evening's entertainment. So, I already picked out a show at Tavistock Hall. Right? Tavistock Hall was one of the earliest custom-built music halls in London. While the business started as a pub with a sideline and entertainers, they commissioned a space specifically for performances. The clientele sit at tables, cabaret style, and can drink and eat while watching a variety show. It is an affordable luxury for London's working class, and the crowd at Tavistock's is already lively as the show begins. First prompt is paint the scene, which is everyone. Second prompt will be Mark. Third prompt will be Rob. Fourth prompt will be Jeremy. Okay? So, think on that. Paint the scene. The audience make their way to their seats just as the orchestra begins playing. This is the show at Tavistock Hall. Describe one of the audience members and how we can tell that they have been looking forward to this evening. This is a paint the scene for everyone. And you can put your answers in the space, so this way you can remind yourselves about tying it in thematically or motif to your hunter scenes for echoes of the night. Okay.
There is an older woman. She is wearing a fairly outdated dress that has been repaired more than once, but lovingly repaired. She's wearing her very best hat and walks very clumsily with a cane. She makes her way to near the front, near the stage, and gingerly, carefully sits down, putting the cane up in her lap in case she needs it. And you can tell that she's a little out of breath from the exertion of just getting here. Her When she does get a drink, she lifts it to her mouth with a shaking hand and only takes the smallest of sips before putting it back down. But as the lights dim in the hall and the stage lights, soft electric lights, and the candle that is on her table flickers, the music starts, you can see her eyes start to water, and the lights reflect her tears, and suddenly in her joy, in her mesmerization of this experience, she looks young and full of vitality again.
I think we see a young naval officer in uniform, the white breeches and a blue blazer. He's very young, and his face is sunburned, clearly just back from months at sea. And on his arm is a young woman who he's, taking out for an evening's entertainment. And I think we can tell he's been looking forward to this for months, because he's been away. It's his first night back in London in who knows how long. And he's laughing a little too loud at his own jokes and anything that his companion says, and just a little too starry-eyed and a little too awed by the room that they find themselves in, and the comforts of London.
And we see what from the shape of the figure would appear to be a woman. It's a little hard to tell as her head is covered the black veil, and she's dressed head to toe in black. She takes a seat at a table, black gloves on her hands, and we can see that she is can barely sit still. She's almost vibrating, constantly shifting in her seat and fidgeting with her hands, seemingly very anxious to see the performances start. And as a few notes of music are struck, one of the wait staff steps forward, and we can see that the woman has treated herself to a glass of champagne.
Up in the balcony, we see dozens of, not so much the working class, but the richer working folk who've dolled themselves up. And our eyes don't go to any of them. We only see the backs of their silhouettes. We instead see a young man, mid-teens, wearing dark clothing. He's not dressed for a show. And he's going behind everyone's backs, quietly, as the orchestral swells hit the crowd, and lifts items out of each of the more well-to-do patrons' pockets. And we see pearls left in a purse glint, a pocket watch tick and swing as if it was a pendulum. He's excited. This show night is what he's been waiting all week for, the night he actually gets a meal with his thievery.
Nice. All right. Let's deal with the Three Mills Island first. Where do you two go to confront, deal with Cora and her attempts to open the portal?
I think logically we would find her at her mill.
It is night, and I can still tell that the mill is still doing its work, even though people are purported to have gone home. Evidently not. There is still chemicals being dumped in the water, and the stack, or the machinery, gears for this particular mill are still going strong. Still grinding, still pumping. you go directly in, or do you, I don't know, check out the place first? Because what is
I
the
think
plan? Is it to talk with Cora, or are you going to do some kind of sabotage?
I think we need to get the lay of the land first.
Fair.
makes sense.
I think I'm going to look in a window. I'm assuming there's windows.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I don't know anything about mouse. I assume there's a window.
Granted, you don't have to necessarily worry about finding clues at the moment. So I'm going to say that, given what you're trying to do, let's do a night move. So, are you trying to... Let's just say that the ground floor windows are boarded up enough that you can't see through them. I mean, if you got something special to see through them, okay, fine. But I will say it's like you have to kind of go a little bit further up if you want to actually look into said factory mill.
Are they boarded up from the outside?
They're like shuttered on the inside.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, I can just tear that off. I'm strong. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to double check what doll parts I have right now.
Okay.
Because I didn't change them. Okay, oh, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna give Kemuel a boost if they'll allow that to look into a higher window.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'm gonna say that you're... Hold on. Take a look at the conditions here. Yeah, you are marked by the six-eyed beast. To get boosted by Marybelle, you will be affected by that condition, unless you can parlay something like a personal quarters item to cancel that out.
Seems fair. Let's see. Oh, perhaps between Marybelle boosting Kemuel and they also extend that ornate silver walking stick. Maybe it, the handle of it protrudes on the end to kind of reach up to the next windowsill above and hoist themselves.
Okay.
Maybe even reaching down to pull Marybelle up like a chain,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay. Yeah, so like, you'll be rolling 2d6 with composure or vitality, depending on how, you gotta, you get boosted, but then you also try to help Marybelle up as well. So I will take either vitality or composure.
I would think, I would think vitality in the interest of like swinging Marybelle up above from his perch.
Nothing
Okay.
can go wrong here. This is a great
All right.
idea.
So
Yeah,
what do we
it's
think will
probably
go
not going to go
wrong?
bad at all.
Yeah, what do we think will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve on this night move?
I mean, I guess the obvious answer is as they would plummet from this ledge that they've hooked onto, crashing downward into Marybelle, or perhaps just into the sodden ground below.
Yes. As embarrassing as that is, I mean, it's going to be worse because as you pile on each other from the fall, I think you will notice that, something has come upon you, and it's not human.
Seems quite appropriate.
Okay. So 2d6
Right.
plus vitality.
Plus 2. Oh, wow, that's 12.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right, so with a 12, you tell me, how does this look? And do you both get in?
Yeah, I think what we see is having been hoisted perhaps on Marybelle's shoulders, Kemuel, with his back to the wall, uh, flips the cane up to catch the ledge above, reaches down with the other arm, now that he's hanging and grabs, or they're hanging and grabs Marybelle uh, by the hand so that she can, and flips her up to go into the window above.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So you make it up there, and I think you will see. You're going to be up on an upper ledge. It's not necessarily a full out floor. I think it's kind of like one of those, not catwalks, but like kind of one of those ledges that goes around the mill, like overseeing things. And it has got the railings and everything. And then you're looking down, and yes, there are people that are still here from during the day, working, still working, these bubbling vats, and there's Cora on the opposite side, overseeing all of these operations and yelling at folks to hurry up and get things prepared. I think Kemuel, you will see um, Hattie. She is also on the opposite catwalk with an apparatus that looks like a pump, and she's priming it because there's like several different chemicals that are in it. There's different gauges of different colors, and she looks like she's about ready to attach it to some other thing to go down to the tanks below. Okay.
I feel like Kemuel would go straight towards Hattie since they've encountered her, or as straight towards her as they can from this ledge.
Right. I mean, it does go all the way around, but I mean, like, you got some time to get there a little bit. But I think you'll see that there is kind of like a partition up in the ceiling, and it's open to the sky, and like right above is the portal. It seems to be swirling a little bit more quickly, and it's not only blue now, but I think you're also going to see some of the other colors swirled in it as well, as if it's nearing its, you know, apex. But you also don't know whether it's because of what they're doing down here or if that's happening naturally. So,
Yeah, heading towards her, I think they shout, "Madam Helmley, desist!"
and she kind of like, her veil like kind of like just shifts over to look at you suddenly, and you can hear her high-pitched voice go, "Kemuel? What are you doing here? Are you here to help the great work?"
We are here on a great work, but not this one. Desist.
Cutting over to Val and Daymond. You get to the Whippet. Now, it's been put into, let's see. Yeah. So, it's a Royal Navy sloop that's converted for use in survey missions. It's currently held in the naval docks at Woolwich along the river from Greenwich. Okay. It was brought back in tow by the Persephone with a skeleton crew, but was left in relatively good condition for a ship that's been cast adrift. Okay? So paint the scene for everyone. What little touches of home do you see left aboard by the original crew who are now lost without any other trace? I'll post in the chat. What signs of home do you see of these original crew that are now lost?
I think on a mantle, a shelf of sorts, there is a faded and, sort of worn and torn lithograph that shows a young family. None smiling because, well, that's just not polite, at least not for this type of picture. And you can tell that this is a picture that somebody brought on with them on many a long journey to keep their family close.
I think we see a backgammon board, but it's a specially adapted one that has, it's wooden, but it has kind of like pegs on the pieces and little holes in the board itself, so that when you play on the rolling sea, it doesn't slide around everywhere and spoil your game.
In the kitchen, we can see that the kitchen has essentially been left in a state of half in use, where sitting now long since burnt in the oven, someone smuggled on an entire roast. Not part of the usual military rations, even for survey missions, but someone took the time to bring food from home. Unfortunately, with the crew being gone, all of it's either spoiled in the fridge or the icebox or been left out to rot.
And I think near that decaying portion of roast, perhaps it's on the floor, we hear kind of a yowl and a somewhat skeletal looking orange cat runs from the kitchen, vaults up onto the backgammon board, spins around once, and launches itself up onto the ledge, almost knocking over the family picture, and then gracefully trailing along the ledge.
So you see these things, and then you don't see these things when you get on board. The roast that's left half out, thinking that it's decaying or rotting, suddenly becomes whole and fully cooked and ready for anyone that wants to partake. It is like you are here on the Whippet, and it is still on the seas, working, but no one's here. You just see that scene cross your eyes, and again, the roast is sitting invitingly in the galley. What do you two do? Where do you two go?
I think Val is keen to look for. I mean, this ship is clearly of this time, but I want to look around and see if there is anything that's out of place that would indicate that perhaps Allardyce was not the only occupant of the ship who was from a different place and time.
Have a
And
move that you want to use, or do you want to
Mm.
do information?
I think just, yeah, for the time being, I'm just looking around.
Okay, so information, please, with reason.
Okay. Reason is not my best. But that's an 11.
Well, damn. Okay. Let's see what I've given you so far. And you find this no problem. Are you roaming the ship, or are you staying in the galley?
think roaming the ship, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe following the cat.
I think you'll like this then. As you're following the cat who has just skittered all over the damn place, yowling, I think you come across in a very strange place, as almost as if it got dropped or someone left it for you to find. You see what looks like a chronometer that moves slowly, but then when it moves quickly, it's running backwards. Daymond, what are you doing as Val follows the cat on a hunch?
Well, I was going to try and speak to the cat through the rites of salt and smoke, but since Daymond knows where they took the star metal fragment that they pulled from the ocean too, I'd like to go to that place on the ship.
Okay. It's in the hold. You have to go down below, of course. And so you're kind of going by memory, feeling which of the storage areas it was in. I think as you move out of the galley, it's like the scene shifts. Like it goes into its half, how to say. You can tell this ship has been used, but then part of it still looks like as if it's just fresh out of dock. And then other parts just look like there's a bit of decay, but not from neglect, but from just age. So as you make your way down to that particular hold, it's like you're going to see all this as you pass by. You get to the hold, and it seems like the doors are wide open and inviting.
Poke my head in, look about, and then step forward into the hold.
Night move. You get an overwhelming smell of spices and decay hitting your nostrils. You're going to be transported somewhere, Daymond, if you're not careful. So, night move with sensitivity. What do you think will go wrong if you fail or lose your nerve?
I feel like no matter what the outcome of this roll is, he's being transported. I just imagine that on a failure, it's it would be the ship sinking. The HMS Whippet under attack from spices and burnt cannibals. The ship's under attack from cannibals who've already prepared the vat that the crew of the HMS Whippet will be put in.
It's worse in a different way. I think that you will find yourself adrift in the fragrant void, and perhaps the kiss of the Hyades will come back and have its way with you.
Doesn't sound as bad as cannibal soup. I presume with disadvantage.
Yes. Yes. Unless you have a personal quarters item you want to use to cancel it out.
Let us see. You know what? No, I actually kind of want to see how the fragrant void plays into this. We'll roll with disadvantage.
I was hoping you'd say that. Keep going.
It's not great either way. That is a 7. I can do math quickly.
So, on a 7 to 9, you do it or you hold steady, but there is a complication or cost. I describe what it looks like. Alright. So, you are in the face of this smell that hits you, and you can feel your body thrumming as if it's being ready to be transported elsewhere. What do you do? Or, I don't know, activate or something that gets you grounded where you are so you don't leave this particular plane?
It's a woman. Given the choice of using the Kiss of the Hyades rather than Out of Time, it's the same creature I danced with the book, the shape of them, of the two of us dancing, of whatever passions we will likely have this evening after the book is freed from its curse of Three Mills Island. It is the Hyades itself that grounds Damian Gray. It is the thought of that ink licked across the lips. That is what grounds him in this moment.
It's not just the thought and the vision. I think that from behind you, like a Japanese horror movie, we see Damon standing there. And then from behind are two inky arms that come out from behind and then wrap themselves around you, one at your chest and the other well down much lower. And you hear in your ear, "Hello, lover. King, come to play?"
That's the idea.
You're going to be busy for a while.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's see. Mark, Parson Clapp is a larger-than-life caricature of a rural clergyman, performed by a male impersonator in a comical bit with jokes and bawdy songs. How does the act poke fun at the establishment?
I think the performer pokes fun at the establishment. They portray Parson Clay as sort of very much the rube from the village, visiting this big metropolitan city of London. And they are delivering almost a tourist description of their touring, but they're very slyly and wittily, the performer that is having the parson describe things in the most glowing, favorable way, but what they're describing is actually something quite wretched or horrific. Like they talk about having the opportunity to tour a mill factory and how all the workers were so thrilled to be there that even those who were missing a few fingers or an arm had showed up for work that day. What loyal, wonderful, and then describing this wonderful interaction they had with one of the peelers, one of the officers, keeping the peace, and how that officer had been soliciting donations for a fund for the boys. But the way that it's described makes clear that this was actually them being shaken down, by a corrupt officer. And so it goes on about that, but also about every third sentence or so, they interject a double entendre, quite bawdy, and then the final bit ends with a sort of rude limerick set to music.
Lovely. You're back at Three Mills Island. Kemuel, you're trying to tell Hattie to cease and desist, and she's just looking at you with her head cocked a little to the side. What do you mean? Stop. Look. And she raises her veiled eyes to the portal. It's almost ready. We just have to speed it up. That dim path will brighten any moment. We will bring them in. We will raise them from this lowly chattel and help us complete great work.
Madam Helmsley, will you take my hand?
I don't see. I need to do this. Miss Adamsworth says I need to do this. I don't have time for you, Kemuel.
That venal merchant Adamsworth has not your best interests in mind. Stand, let us speak for a moment. Take our hand.
No. I can't. I need to continue my work. You're going to need to do something if you want to convince her to do what you ask.
I think that they'll reach down, and of course she may stop them, but they'll reach down and raise her veil.
Oh, shit. Night move. She's going to take... Remember, she's got the apparatus in her hand. Yeah. She's going to spray the chemicals on you, Kemuel.
Oh, amazing.
For doing that. So, she does not want you to raise her veil.
Amazing.
Okay? So, I'm not... I mean, you want to add something to how it's... what goes wrong? Sure.
Yeah, I think I will just add the detail that Kemuel would be very upset that his ensemble will be destroyed. He's wearing what looks like a preacher's or a parson's outfit. It's all black with a wide-brimmed black hat, but where there might be a clerical collar, he has a string of these, or they have a string of just these enormous pearls, and then clasps of pearls around each wrist, all of which will, of course, be ruined by this horrendous barrage of God knows what.
So, how do I put this? So she's been experimenting on herself with some of this regenerative chemical mixture. It didn't go well. So, unless your regenerative powers are really cool, then we're going to see the effects on Kemuel.
Amazing.
Okay? If it goes really wrong. True. Vitality, composure. I mean, what do you think is appropriate? To
I feel like it would be composure, right?
Sure. Yeah.
That's a 0, but that feels the most appropriate. Is the spooky six-eyed guy affecting this in any way?
I won't have that affect you. It's gonna be bad enough as it is. It's fine.
2 dice.
Yep.
Let's see. That is a 6 plus 1 is a 7.
Okay. All right. You succeed. You raise the veil before she's able to do anything with it, and I think she makes like she's going to spray you, but she falters because you have raised the veil, and what you see it was a new chemical process that I was experimenting on. And what better to experiment on than myself? You see that parts of her skin, her muscle, and her viscera have become transparent, and all you can see is bone beneath. Her skull.
Zooms, Patty. How beautiful you are.
Her jaw moves, the bones clacking. You can't be serious. How?
Resplendent. And they'll gently brush her cheek. A miracle. A vision. Will you take our hand?
Will you take ours? And she removes her glove, and she will hold your hand with her skeletal one. Take the condition. Oh, man. Oh, God, what the hell's the name of that song? I'll come up with it in a second, because it's like I feel like it's appropriate, but I'm going to go over to Daymond and Val while I'm thinking about it. Sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Marybelle, what are you doing?
I think I was watching this interaction with quite some interest, because it's interesting to see what is happening. I don't quite understand it, and I think while this is going on, I'm using the opportunity to go find Cora, who Adamson.
Adamsworth?
Adamsworth.
Yeah, she's across the way, further out, and she's overseeing the workers below and being very loud about it.
I think I would like to go to maybe a slightly more isolated part of the mill and then call out to her using I've totally lost track of all names here. Hattie Henley's voice.
Oh,
because
okay.
I have a doll part that will help me out
nice.
here.
Nice.
I have my quicksilvered infused lingual apparatus. It's a waxen prosthetic organ threaded with veins of charged mercury. I am a master ventriloquist, and I can throw my voice and mimic any sound that you've heard in an attempt to create a diversion.
Amazing.
I want to try and convince Cora to stop doing what she is doing and come over to where I am. I'm kind of in the shadow.
Okay.
I just want to get her alone.
Okay. Alrighty. So, do you have to activate this with a roll or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay.
This doll part operates with presence, so if
Okay.
I do have to do a roll, that's what I would use.
Okay. Yeah, she's kind of wispy to begin with, obviously. So I want to say if you want to do it with some kind of power behind it, like you probably need to do a night move, I guess, to get her attention.
That's fair.
And to hold it. Yeah. So
yeah, I can see that.
What do you think will happen if you fail or lose your nerve?
I'm worried that I'll get somebody else's attention instead.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Let me guess. It's worse than that.
Yes, because it's not someone whose attention you're going to be getting. The portal is opening up top, so you could be getting some other unwanted attention on you. Yeah. So
delightful.
As you're making that roll, Kemuel, your condition is Sally's song. I put the lyrics in the chat.
All right, let's go. That is a 9.
All right. So tell me specifically what you say to get her attention.
I use Hattie's voice, and I'm trying to mimic things that I've heard her say.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really remember what you said, so I'm just going to do some generic stuff, but it'll be something along the lines of, I should have thought about this more better. Oh, Miss Adamsworth, please. What are you doing? I need you here. And it sounds like, if you weren't listening, it sounds kind of choppy, like when you play back pieces of a recording that don't really fit together.
Right.
Come here, Miss Adamsworth.
She is focused on what's going down below, and without looking at you or Hattie, she is going to say, "Not now, Hattie. It's almost ready. I can see the gauges. They're almost at capacity."
Up on the ledge like us?
Yeah, yeah, like on the catwalk ledge thing. That's along the.
Oh.
Oh no.
Interesting.
Yes.
How far away is she from me?
probably like, like another, I don't know, like 50 feet or something like that away. So I mean, like if you imagine, like you're at these ledges, catwalks. It's like you've gone about halfway as far. Kemuel's busy with Hattie, like where she actually is,
Yeah.
and then like you've kind of gone off to the side.
Is
To
there like
be
a safety railing?
Yes, all around.
Is it feasible that I could push her over it?
Sure.
I would like to rush up behind her and push her over the safety railing into the vats.
Oh. Yes. Yes. I'm gonna say though, it will require another night move, just because it's like
Fair.
there's a very big possibility that. Well, you tell me what you think will go wrong first, and I'll tell you how it's worse.
I'm worried that I'm going to hit her too hard and we'll both go into the vats.
Yeah, remember that glitter bomb that you got smacked with earlier?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that going into the vat will change your composition, Marybelle.
Oh no.
Yeah. There's going to be some problems with your doll. With your doll pots. Yes.
Oh dear.
So, if you go over with her, yeah.
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 Okay.
Toxic Avenger in a bad way, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
it's
just
made for
wanna
I don't think
say
it's made
that
for inorganic material.
Rob very kindly translated 50 feet into meters for me in chat. It's
Oh,
hilarious. Thank you,
sorry.
Rob. I don't know how long. I don't know how big 50 feet is.
I'm bad with metric. I'm sorry. I'm
Much
American.
appreciated.
Excuse me. I'm American. All right, great.
Listen, I'm Burton, so I get it. So I think, yeah, I would like to. While I do this, I'm gonna take out the can that I have on me of lubricating oil. There's nothing really in it. There's no real oil in it right now.
Uh-huh.
But if I need to, I can use it as a weapon to hit her over the head in case she screams or something. I'm
Okay.
hoping that that'll help.
Okay. Sure.
So that'll be my personal quarter item that I'm
Sure.
going to mark off for advantage.
Okay. Alrighty.
I don't want to go in the vat. And I don't have to because I got a 12.
All right.
Well, I got, yeah, +1 is a 12.
Yes. Okay. All right. Fair. That's not a night move. So you tell me how this looks as you.
I think
push her-
there's a moment where Marybelle tries the ventriloquism again, and it frustrates Cora. She turns and says, "Miss Helmley, I have told you, I don't have to." As Marybelle steps out of the shadow and realizes that she is not talking to Hattie. She is talking to a strange type of thing she has never seen before. This sort of clumsy, gangling kind of creature that is rushing towards her with a dented green can in her hand. And you can hear Marybelle saying, "Ha, ha, 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 ha." And you see the lights from the mill and all the different colors from the different vats reflecting in Marybelle's eyes, but you don't see any life or amusement there. It's nothing. There is nothing behind those eyes. And it's fast when Cora gets pushed over the barrier, back first, going head first down into the gears, into the vats. The sound, there's no scream. It's too fast for that. It's just crunching and the screeching of the gears as they grind to a halt with the viscera and bone that are trapped inside of them. And Marybelle just looks down, an audience to this, watching as everything sort of grinds to a halt.
there is, well, no consequence to that particular action. But I'm going to head over to Val and Daymond. Val, you first. So you found the chronometer. Now what do you want to do here on the Whippet?
I think it occurs to Val that they and Daymond have become separated, and perhaps they'll look toward the cat and say, "Ah, I'm getting ahead of myself again. What has become of Mr. Grey, I wonder? Mr. Grey!"
Just a flash downstairs. This is no longer the hold, where you are curious about the star medal or what is located here. I think it is someplace else, Daymond. As the inky black hands and arms caress and embrace you. Where are you?
I want, as much as I'd love to make this like dark and central, no, we're just in Hargrave House's library. On that table that's always at the forefront of your mind. Apologies. Amanda, you are correct. The Hargrave House library is always dark and sensual.
And that table's bigger than it was before.
However, I think the most important thing to take away is that the clock that always resets itself to midnight when someone enters is hours away from midnight. Whether that's because we've been in here that long or because we aren't actually in the library.
My question to you, Daymond, is, are you having a good time?
Daymond is unable to answer that question. There's a little bit too much background noise of guttural cardinal pleasure. He's a little occupied at the moment.
Yeah. So as you're asking that question, the cat's looking at you, Val. Like, as in, really? Where would you like to go next? This is the consequence of your mixed result, by the way, Daymond. So.
I think I would. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I'm no stranger to sitting out scenes for the sake of a mixed result.
I think I'll see if I can find the cabins of the crew where they maybe sleep with, I don't know, imagine there's hammocks and so on, and see if I can find any like personal storage. And I want to hunt around in there to see if I can find anything of interest that might belong to Allardyce.
Sure. I mean, you find yourself in the bunk area of the Whippet, and just like Daymond had seen, I mean, some of it looks like almost like new, and other parts look like there's dark, decaying corners as if of age, and then like some that look like they're actually in this present time. So, yeah, I mean, you're welcome to root around. You just have to do an information move.
Yeah, I think I want to particularly root around in the areas that look fresher.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a better chance of finding something there if the areas that are kind of old and musty and those are areas that have been sitting in the dock for some time and may have been cleared out, whereas these fresher areas may be touching the past of when the ship was at sea or
information move with sensitivity.
And that's kind of what I was aiming for. Of course, my sensitivity sucks. Okay.
I mean, parlay me something else if you wanna.
No, that's good. That's what I was trying to go for. So
Okay.
Let's do it. That's a 7.
Okay. Info. All right. Give you a clue and then complicate your life. Give me a second. You're looking in the older areas, yeah? As you're looking around and you're looking for personal effects, you are in the older parts of the ship, like where it looks like it's not quite here, but it's in the past. And I think you end up seeing something instead. Like you see like kind of movement out of the corner of your eye, and then when you look up, you end up seeing a scene forming in front of you in these bunk areas. You see midshipmen and regular seamen, sorry, and they're like kind of like hanging off of their bunks. It's like they're having a clandestine meeting in their bunk area because there's too many of them to fit in this room. So I mean, like, you know, they're all trying to meet in secret, and you get the you get the whispers, you get the distant echoes of what they're saying. Like it's kind of coming through as like, you know, multiple voices speaking at once but saying the same words. They're talking about doing a mutiny against a cruel captain. And that is the vision that you eavesdrop on. They don't see you. Or do they? It's becoming very heated. Some are, you know, don't want to risk their lives and their livelihood for this. And others are speaking out because they cannot condone nor deal with this cruelty much longer. So a mutiny seems to be their only choice. And I think... Got a 7, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I think 1 or 2 of them are going to look up from their conversation in their heated argument and then see and look at you directly. Oi! What are you doing here? And they're going to reach out and they're going to grab you. You can feel them. Their strong hands are on you and dragging you into that particular scene. Night move, please. What are you afraid will happen if you fail or lose your nerve? I will take vitality for trying to break away from them, break out of that particular period, or you can parlay sensitivity if you want, whatever you'd like.
You know? I think vitality makes sense. I think what I'm afraid of is going to happen is that I'll be pulled into whatever time and place this was, and I won't be able to get back.
Right. Yeah, I think as it's worse is that you will not only be dragged into that particular time period, but then they're going to use you as the scapegoat. If we get in trouble for this, he's to blame. A stranger on a ship. Stow away.
I'll move with vitality then. My vitality is 2 at the moment.
Okay. All right.
And that makes it a 13. 11 on the dice plus 2.
Nice. You tell me. You tell me how you deal with this and break out of not only their grip, but also out of this time capture.
I think Val is of middling height and middling build. Doesn't appear to be strong, but when they grasp them, there is a strength and a rigidity there, and not just that, but a knowledge of how to use their weight and how to... They're no stranger to being handled roughly or doing the same to others, and they're able to break this grip with just kind of swift and efficient action and step backward out of this kind of pocket of space that into very deliberately into one of the areas that looks of this time, of, you know, older and warm and dusty.
Okay. I think that allows you to break free. So, Rob. The Aldwych Amazons are a pair of twin sisters who have devoted themselves to athletics and bodybuilding. What feats of strength and endurance do we see them perform, and how do we see they take pride in their bodies?
I think we see the stage pitch dark, a void, unlit, and then a single light shines down, and there are the two glistening bodies of the sisters. They are, by Victorian standards, dressed in extremely risque costume. There is a lot of skin on display, and their feats of strength are to lift and balance one another. They don't have any equipment. But they're almost moving through these artistic and beautiful and extremely athletically challenging poses, with one balanced on the hand of another, or the one doing a handstand while the other stands on their feet. And in all of this, the light is seeming to pick out the musculature of their arms and their legs and their shoulders, and they are kind of just this kind of idealized muscular form in motion of two bodies becoming one.
Nice. Back to 3 Mills. Kemuel, you are, I guess, entranced by this, what you see under Hattie's veil. She has entwined her skeletal fingers with your own. What do you do?
Mule says, Hattie, so glorious, angelic. You have touched us deep inside. Will you pay the price?
Impossibly, there's a tear that rolls down from one of her eye sockets, down her skull cheek. Am I to be part of the great work?
And if she doesn't recoil, they will hold her face close and kiss her in a deep embrace. And as their hand makes its way down the arm, they will toss the apparatus aside and hold her close.
I don't know if you remember what it was like to have someone return your embrace as passionately, Kemuel, but she will. She doesn't notice what you do. And she's there in your arms as Marybelle. Have you powered down, or did you just kind of stop before you ended up going over, going over with Cora?
I think I stopped myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can actually even see there's a bend in the barrier from where I ran towards it. But yeah, I think I'm just standing there watching, and I do look up at the portal to see if it's going to close, because my assumption is, if the experiment's broken, why would the portal open here?
Yeah, I think it does this weird thing where it's kind of like stuttering. Like it looks like it was going to be opening, like it was turning quite quickly, but then it was like, stopping and then stuttering and then like in, out, like as if it's like a blinking eye that can't control itself. Like somehow it's dry and it's trying to hydrate itself. That's what it looks like to you, I guess, is your perception of it. And you hear like a rumble, not from within, but almost like all around you, kind of like a Doppler scream, if I'm right. But I mean, you see the vats, like they're shuddering as well, and you see Cora's body float to the surface of the one vat, and it is bloated, and it is absorbed, partially inflated, but it's the wrong color. It's not purple. It's not orange. It's not even bone. It's just some kind of weird color combination that, was not complete. And yeah, the portal's doing something. It looks like it's looking like it's trying to open further, but it's not.
Just for, I mean, I can't use it as a mechanical advantage, but I still have my can of lubricating oil that I had in my hand just in case I needed to smack her with it. I think I want to throw it into the portal. The attempt is to try and get it even more irritated so that it closes.
Nice. Yeah, let's give it a shot for funsies.
For funsies.
What could go wrong? Sure, right?
What could go wrong is that it spits it back out at me and hits me.
Lubricating oil, huh?
It's empty.
Oh.
That helps.
Yeah, I think there's going to be... if it goes really wrong, there's just going to be... Maybe the portal spits out like one or two little things that just... Yeah.
All right. Do
So.
I roll? Is this sensitivity or
You're going...
vitality?
Amazingly enough, you're going on instinct if you want to parlay that, sure. Or, I don't know, vitality since you're throwing something into the portal.
Both my sensitivity and vitality are 0 right now, so I think either way.
Okay. Or, I mean, like, if you can parlay me something else.
Dear heads, I got 6s.
Nice. Okay.
Yay.
Okay. So 12 plus. All right. You describe to me what happens with the portal as you throw this empty can inside.
I think it's like you described. It's sort of like it's blinking as if it's trying to struggle to keep itself open, and it's having a hard time. This body that's bloated and broken and busted floats to the surface, and it's a mixture of different kinds of browns and red of blood, and it's just not a nice solid color. And I take this can, this dented green can I have that I use for oil, and I throw it with everything I have into the portal. It blinks and starts to move in and out like a sphincter, and I was thinking more like an eye, but then I realized what word I used. Okay. Like a pupil. And I think it puckers in like it's had something sour to eat, like lips. And not making this better.
This imagery is great. Keep going.
It puckers like it's had something sour. and it spits out the can into the vat, where it sinks down to the bottom with no sound. It's too noisy in here. And it pulls in on itself as if it's sucking itself into its normal dimension, world, land.
Yeah.
And there is a burst of color, as if the whole mill is suddenly lit up like a prism. And then it's dark.
And that foreman of hers realizes what happened, and he says, she's dead, boys. We don't have to fall under her control anymore. Those creatures look like they're gone too. I think we're free to go home. Did they see you up on the ledge, Marybelle?
I think I'd back into the darkness as the prism dissipates and the light dissipates and everyone's eyes adjust.
Yeah.
So that nobody would see me now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, like, you know, they're just kind of like, everyone's kind of like a little shell shocked, a little dazed and confused. They're gonna just basically stop what they're doing. You know, the vats have quieted down. Nothing. And obviously the portal has disappeared. And they start walking away, just scratching their head and just looking as if they've just come off of, like, you know, a 3-day bender and go home. Kemuel, you're there with Hattie in your arms. What do you do?
And they say, Hattie, come with me. Come with us. We have so much to show you. Now, your great work can truly begin.
Where will I go? What will I do? And she hurries to pull the veil back down on her face, as if ashamed still.
Hattie, why do you hide your magnificence?
You're so beautiful. I can't. You don't want to see this. Not this. Not me.
We are no more beautiful than you. You are extraordinary. You are worthy.
And you feel her body fall into yours, and some dry, rasping coughs that when you think about it, you realize she's crying. Jeremy. Sartini the Superlative is an illusionist whose performances inspire wonder in the audience. What about his act demonstrates he may have some real knowledge of mystical traditions?
As the previous act gets off the stage, the audience is taken aback with a gasp as a small cat stumbles onto the stage wearing a cloak and just kind of sits there in the middle of the limelight, licking its paws. Someone claps and the cat startles and looks up. The cat makes a simple sound of curiosity as it steps towards the stage. One of the stagehands then comes to run to chase the cat off, attempting to apologize to the audience before the cat comes back, this time in a full suit. And through a puff of smoke, the cat and the stagehand are gone, And Sartini stands there and pulls out from his mouth an orange hairball, flicks it onto the stage where it lands in front, and without a puff of smoke to show that there is no trickery, that same cat in a suit appears on the center stage. The rest of the show, the rest of the act is simple trickery, illusions of the light, things veiled by smoke, but that pulling of the hairball out of his own mouth, a cat appearing with no fanfare, no flash. Something else entirely.
The camera has a blurry vision of the books, the shelves in Hargrave House's library. In the foreground, we see a stretched out, elegant arm doused in ink, reaching up, stretching, and then maybe a bare male arm that seems to have a cigarette in it, and the inky hand takes the cigarette from the male hand and brings it down, and then there's a nice curl of smoke, and we hear the voiceover. Again?
As much as I would love to, based on the fact that the sky is pitch black, I would assume that Marybelle and Kemuel have completed their part of this ritual. And your pages, my dear, and you just hear the ruffling of pages, someone's finger running over them, have changed. Not for the worse, but just changed for the moment.
These pages change every day, lover. All you have to do is look.
And look, I shall, but it does take a day for them to change.
And I think if the camera sees, like, Damon's bare back, like, sit up, it will shift. And I think next to you is a beautifully bound book with the title Almanac of the Hyades next to you.
Until your lines dance across me as my lines dance across you. And I will put the book back on the table, closed. And as the camera would then turn to see the door of the library and see it open, and a clothed burgundy suit Damien would walk out of the library, and we'd see that the pages of the almanac open and begin shuffling forwards, stopping for a moment. On today's date, something that's very rare for the almanac, and it just says, written a new chapter with Mr. Gray. Almanac of the Hyades.
Val, you're still on the ship, but you've broken out of that scene where it's almost like we see the camera see you in slow motion, like kind of like, you're wrenching yourself back and out, and these shades, these echoes of ghosts or people from the past are reaching out for you, almost grabbing you, but they don't quite make it. And when you do land on the solid ground or floor of this particular cell, you will see the cat. Like, you're like supine and you're looking up and you see the upside down face of the cat above you. And It will lick your nose. What do you do?
I think I scoop the cat up in my arms and say to it, let's go and see if we can find Mr. Gray, shall we?
Cat nods. And we close out of night phase. Alrighty. So, we have, or you have, resolved Monochromatic Men of 3 Mills Island. Let's look at rewards first. So rewards. Almanac of the High 80s. Add it to your personal quarters. Piece of glowing yellow rock found near 3 Mills Island. Add it to your personal quarters. Hargrave House has access to Randall Newcastle. He can be consulted once per day phase, in exchange for hot goss about a previously resolved threat. He will give you a clue about an active threat. Keeper's choice. A memento from the investigation. Ask another hunter what it is and then add it to your personal quarters. And another memento from the investigation. Ask another hunter what it is and add it to your personal quarters. What do people want?
I would like Randall Newcastle, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Obviously, that means everyone gets to ask him that, but...
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, if you want to put him in the... I don't know where it went, though.
There should be a section in the records section.
It's in the
Yeah.
hunter section for additional moves. Bottom column A, like line 70 something.
Oh, maybe? Because there used to be like an actual moves sheet where we could put in threat moves and such.
Yes, it's moved down there under the phase selector. You can type in your own special moves.
Ah,
Ah,
okay. All right. Yes, please feel free and add him there. Great, thank you. Who else wants what?
It feels slightly wrong to take the Almanac of the High 80s, but I feel like I have to.
For those cold nights, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
absolutely.
Yeah, we're gonna take the Almanac of the High 80s.
life as a hunter is lonely. Get yourself an almanac, girlfriend.
Kemuel, I'm going to give you Hattie to add to your personal quarters. Now, she is a side character that is, can be with you if you want. And you could conceivably use her presence mechanically. Okay? But
Awesome.
just, of course,
Okay.
like the ones. Just like regular personal quarters items. But
Yeah.
she will be there fictionally unless something really wrong goes happening and Kemuel decides to be petulant or whatever. So, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And Val, what do you want for your reward?
I'll take the piece of glowing yellow rock.
Okay. Go ahead and add that to your personal quarters.
Unless, oh yeah, I'm the last. So yeah, I'll take
Or, I mean, if you want to do a memento, that's fine too.
that works fine.
Since no one took the memento, I have to ask, what are we naming the house cat?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
We do need to name the house cat.
Val, you get you could get the house cat, but again, it's like, it works just like Hattie, so use it mechanically once, but I mean, fictionally exists.
I feel like Val would name the cat.
Yeah. But whether the cat answers to it, that's a different story.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah.
Is it a male cat or a female cat?
I'm gonna say male cat. I mean, let's put it this way. The first time I ran St. James's Street Ghost for one of the campaigns, they spent a lot of time trying to think of a new name for Pythagoras, who hated his name.
Oh,
So-
baby.
What color is the cat?
Port
Did you
colors.
say orange? I thought you said orange. Or was that from the unseen? I can't remember.
No, I thought
Orange.
Kemuel described it as orange.
Yeah, I
Or
thought so.
Mark, not Kem. You are Mark.
Think on it. Well, in the meantime, go through dawn
Mhm.
questions. Okay. And I don't think anybody had any anything dusk wise that needed to be resolved in dawn, but we're just going to go through again and just make sure. Undeniable. Hunters answered a question. Hell yeah. Hunters resolved a threat. Hell yeah. Did you experience an echo in a night? I heard several, so you got those points.
Not
You
at
got
this
the
time.
point. The point. Did you secretly show a vulnerable side to someone? Hell yeah. Oh, now did you let someone touch you and make them pay a price for doing so?
I feel like what happened was not in the spirit of that question. So, or not full, like, I don't feel like that question was fulfilled.
Okay. Okay. You were trying to get close. I could hear it, but yeah, you didn't exact a price from
Yeah.
Hattie, which I thought was very sweet. Yeah, so take those points for your XP. Fill in your advancement track. If you get an advancement, then please, pick out what you want and then clear your dawn questions and then change your elective ones if you want to. All right, Daymond. Definitely answered a question. Definitely resolved a threat. Did you experience an echo in the night? I'm pretty sure I heard one, at least one.
All right.
The cat.
I mean, I heard people mentioning all sorts of things. Ledges, voids, I mean, Jesus. So,
Daymond did the cat right on stage. So yeah, it's meant.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you make love to a dark entity because it felt good?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a face-to-face encounter with a dark entity? That happened last time too, so.
Yes, that was me coming face to face with myself.
Yes. Okay. Take those points, add them to your XP track, and then clear your dawn questions. Change your elective dawn questions if you so choose. Alrighty. Facsimile. Answered a question. Resolved a threat. Echo in the night. I heard it. Did you do your best to blend into London society to avoid arousing suspicion of your otherness?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
I don't think I did anything on purpose like that.
Okay. Did you share an intimate moment with a living being, then remind them of your own inhumanity?
I wouldn't say, I mean, killing somebody's kind of intimate, but I don't think that was an intimate moment, so to speak.
What about the bath? That was...
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, that was still part of the cycle. So, yeah, definitely the bath. Okay, so, yeah, take those points, add them to your advancement, and change your dawn questions if you so choose. Okay? And the Errant. Answered a question. Resolved a threat. I'm pretty sure you hit an echo in the night this time, Rob.
Yeah, I was trying to with the imagery of the void and then the kind of
Yes.
eroticism of the bodies tying into what
Hell
was going
yeah.
on with Daymond.
Hell yeah. Did you show a clear preference for the past?
I don't think I can think of anything for that, no.
Okay. Did you address a challenge with foresight or revelation?
I'm trying to think back to what happened last session, because I know oh, but that was the previous night phase where I used the move.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of like the day phase investigations that you did.
So I
Oh,
would,
go ahead.
I'd say that you did. We made a plan to scar the
yeah.
child, and
Mhm.
you went
True.
into that moment knowing
Yes.
exactly what to
Yeah,
look
yeah, yeah,
for,
yeah.
Yes.
and the
Yeah, that's a great
revelation
point.
that
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
That is a great point.
Yes. Okay. Take those points,
Alright.
add them to your advancement XP track, and then clear your questions, and then change your elected dawn questions if you so choose. Okay.
I get an advancement. I am unlocking an adapter key to a doll part, which means I get 2 adapter keys now. So that'll be fun.
Okay, great. Okay. Let's see. Did we do anything else? Okay. Rewards, yes. Dawn questions, yes. Mark new elective dawn questions. Any playbook or custom moves that are resolved during dawn phase, you just did that with your doll parts and such. Okay. We have plenty of Janus mask prompts on said table. What do we got? I mean, like, I got past and threat mask from Daymond. I've got the threat mask from Val. Marybelle, you got the threat mask, and Kemuel, you have Cosmic Passage is a mechanical thing, and then you have the threat mask to narrate. So, if anybody's got them, you can totally do them now.
Yeah, I can go.
Okay.
Let's see. It's the mask of the clock is the threat, right?
Yes.
So that is a little moment in the past. What would they have done differently if given another chance? Do they regret the choice they made? And we see Kemuel kind of lounging on a wicker chair inside the conservatory at Hargrave House. And they're wearing a silky purple dressing gown that's embroidered with stylized peacock feathers and savoring a rich, really aromatic wine from a silver goblet, looking quite relaxed. And nearby, kneeling at the foot of the Joshua tree, the hunter named Roger is clearing away some stray growth and moistening the roots with liquid from a glass pitcher, liquid just as rich and dark looking as Kemuel's wine, but seemingly quite a lot more viscous. And the two chat briefly and maybe exchange a few jokes. But before long, Roger stands to leave. He remarks that his pitcher is badly in need of refilling. And Kemuel seems a little bored. He watches as Roger leaves the room. But given later developments, Kemuel, they greatly regret not following that man, as they would have liked to see what Roger had seen.
Thank you. Who's next?
I can do my muscular claw. I think we see sunlight streaming in through the window of a simple room, and a man and a woman are lying in bed, and the man has thick blonde hair and soft brown eyes, and the woman has kind of her head resting on his shoulder and says, "Are you sure you won't come, Val? It's going to get dangerous here any day now. We've been stuck here for weeks. Why don't you just think of it? America. We could be there in a few months." And the man says, "Maud, you know my duty is here. There's no possibility of me abandoning my post. I'm sorry. I wish I could. You know that." And she says, "Well, I'm not going to pass up this chance. I hope you understand that." He says, of course. Perhaps I will join you there one day when this war is over." And as he says that, we hear shouts from outside, and he leaps from his bed saying, "I must go," and starts to pull on his clothes, which is a kind of a frilly white shirt and a red coat and a belt that goes diagonally, a big thick belt that goes diagonally, and then a big broad-brimmed black hat, and a brace of pistols go into his waistband, and he rushes outside as we hear the first boom of a cannon. It is 10th of September, 1645, and I think Val will never not think about what could have been, but there was no choice. And we're at I'm going to name the cat the Prince Rupert, because we are at the Siege of Bristol, which the Cavaliers lost to the New Model Army in the English Civil War.
For my mask of the clock, we'd see in an orphanage. A church-run orphanage, a cross hanging on the wall, large open space. A boy, about 16 or so. And as young boys are wont to do, we can see him. I'm going to say words that put a certain image in your mind, and it's not that. He's playing with himself, not in that way, in the picking at scabs kind of way, the playing with your own flesh. Only it's not his flesh he's playing with. It's the silver lines that have always crossed his skin. And he's picking at one just by the shoulder. And just blood is kind of pouring down just a little bit as he's really getting under the skin. And our view focuses on a nail kind of grabbing at it. And he pulls, and he manages to get it under his own skin and grabs at one of these silver linings around his body and pulls. And it takes everything to stop himself from howling in pain as he pulls the first of the silver threads out of his chest. The rest of the threads begin to dance. For the first time, they move, reacting to the sound of the scream. Everyone else turns to look at him, and one of the nuns comes in and figures it's because of the blood that he was picking at that the scream happened. She's oblivious to the fact that his skin is literally writhing. And she places just a handkerchief on the blood and puts some pressure on it and sends a young Daymond to a nurse to get patched up. He doesn't regret his decision to pull at the strings that make him what he is.
I suppose I can do my mask as well. I think this is the near past. Marybelle hasn't been around that long, and it's dusk. At the edge of a river, we see a group of children laughing and splashing in a shallow, slow-moving portion of the river. They're jumping on each other, and they're dunking each other's heads in the cloudy water, and popping up, laughing, giggling, and shoving each other. Eventually, they get tired and leave, and the river just laps quietly at the bank. And we see Marybelle step from their hiding place in the shadows from where they're watching. Night starts to fall and things get darker. And Marybelle steps clumsily, a lot more clumsily than we see them walk now, into the water. Their feet are sinking into the mud and then pulling back out of the mud with like a sound. They bend awkwardly and splash it up at nobody. Their movements are very clunky and unpracticed. They wade deeper, and another splash, and a noise comes from them. It's creaky and strained and mechanical. It's forced. It's a ha 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 ha. They're trying to mimic the delight that the children had when they were splashing. There's another step, and they sink down into the water as the bank breaks. We hear a shout, and through the murky and disturbed silt in the water swimming around Marybelle's vision, we see a young man jump in after them in a panic. and he is graceful. His legs are kicking against the water. His arms are strong as he swims, pulling his body towards Marybelle. There's bubbles escaping from his nose as he swims, and his hair is fluttering around his panicked face. And Marybelle thinks that he must be what people mean when they say someone is beautiful. He is so alive. And he pulls at Marybelle's arms as they look up at him in this dark water, desperately trying to pull them out to the surface, desperately trying to rescue Marybelle from where they stand below the water. Ha ha ha! Marybelle tries again, and the sound is dampened by the water. It sounds even more strange underwater. And the man's eyes widen as Marybelle reaches up their hands, grabbing his head, one hand on either side, to dunk the man down into the water as Marybelle had seen the children do. But he doesn't pop up laughing like the children did. He flails a moment, another moment, and then he stops. And Marybelle doesn't understand why he isn't laughing. The children laughed, and she did just what the children did. But Marybelle doesn't feel regret, because they don't feel anything.
Daymond, you have a mask of the past. Do you want to do it now, or you want to wait?
I will wait till next session.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we'll start with day phase for next session and all that entails. Some conditions on the board, of course. So, stars and wishes. My God.
Well, I always love going first, because then, you know, it's like we were saying in chat earlier. If I go first, then I can just say everyone else's ideas are also mine. Mark, I really, really liked that juxtaposition of how Marybelle dealt with Cora and how Kemuel was dealing with Hattie. There was something that felt sort of like mirrored about it, but especially with these two people, Marybelle and Kemuel, who are very strange and otherworldly. I don't know. It seemed it was really, really cool. I wasn't really sure what Kemuel was going to do with that, you know, and I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. So it's really interesting to see, like, you've got another follower, but in such a different way. And I'm excited, really excited to see what's going to come of that. I think that's really cool. Jeremy, the relationship with the book, that's awesome. That's just great. That is just so strange and dark and weird and perfect for a vessel, and I'm really, really excited that you went with it, because it's so weird. I think a lot of people wouldn't make that choice or even have that idea, so kudos. Big stars for that. That was really fantastic. I'm excited to see what the almanac is going to be like now that the threat is over. What is it going to say? How is it going to interact with the world? How is it going to interact with Daymond? I think there's a whole bunch of potential there, and I know that you are going to run with it, and it's going to be great. So that's a wish for me for sure. Rob, this is the second time I've got to play with Val, and I really like Val. I'm really glad that they got a cat. There's just something really nice about that. And Prince Rupert is a really great name for a cat. It's very elegant. The way your masks work, that backwards thing, that's so juicy. It's just delightfully fun. And your mask was really this is going to sound like a not star, but it is a star. You just gave us just like a little bit, but not everything, you know? And like that sort of, we saw a glimpse into one piece of time, and I want the whole picture. I just want it so much now. So that's how the masks work, right? That's the point. So I'm really excited to see how Val's whole life pieces together in this strange backwards way that we're not used to seeing in the between. So kudos on working with that, because that's like conceptually mind hurty. Like my brain hurts when I think about time travel stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Mads, you, as always, did a really great job running with everything. You were great. I know I missed last session, and I never felt like I was lost or confused. So thank you for getting me caught up really quickly at the beginning there, and reminding me when I've forgotten things. I really, really appreciate, and I think that there was a whole bunch of like the conditions and the ways you were throwing out the it's worse than that stuff in this session. Mwah, perfect. Loved it. Awesome. So excited for more. Yay.
Yeah, I can go if you like. I noted a few things down. I really loved, Amanda, your description of the death of Cora Adamsworth was extremely juicy and very, yeah, like very the between, right? That's perfect. I really loved in that same scene Kemuel's moment where he said, like, we have, or something like, we have such things to show you, and I immediately was like, oh geez, is he like a Cenobite from Hellraiser? But I don't think I have this kind of glimmering that I kind of get the idea of what's going on with Kemuel, but I don't know. I'm really fascinated to find out. But I really loved the way they were emphasizing the beauty of the character whose name I've forgotten now. And it's almost like I'm detecting this fascination with humanity in Kemuel. That's really cool. Yeah, I want to echo what Amanda said about Damon's crazy relationship with the entity in the almanac. That's just so good. Like, I would never in a million years think of doing that, and yet it's such a perfect and really, really atmospheric thing to have going on. And I'm really looking forward to like seeing what goes on with that character now, carrying on from like now it's free from the confines of the threat, right? And also the Mask of the Clock was really good with like the pain in Damon's experience, but also like there was never any question that he was going to go down that path, right? There was no regret. There wasn't an option there, right? Yeah, and Mad's great job with like juggling spotlight and moving things around and slotting in the unseens at great moments. And yeah, I'm glad we finished up the night and looking forward to the day.
I'll go. Yeah, I guess just taking off where Rob left off. I also echo the star for Damon's tryst with the almanac, but particularly the detail that the clock that it always resets to midnight was hours away from midnight. It was like such an amazing little detail to add. And like the cat in the full suit. But I wrote down, it was a wild contrast because I actually wrote down Daemon Grey is just fully a dark sorcerer, just like amazing. And then you did the mask that showed like the beginning of him down that path. I just thought it was a cool juxtaposition and a fun coincidence. Yeah, Rob, echoing kind of what Amanda said too. I'm really enjoying Val. Both of those masks were such a cool little window into these historical moments, but also so different from each other and so rich in different ways. And then it's really, I thought in your descriptions of that sort of altercation and breaking the hold, I really felt that Val is formidable, and you know, the swiftness and efficiency, and then being careful to like sort of retreat back into an area that was like in the right time. It just, I felt like I really got a sense of the physicality of that character. Amanda, the ha 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 was like so chilling. And then the detail of no life or amusement, nothing behind the eyes, as she pushed her, or as they pushed her, just makes a person's blood run cold. That was amazing. And the detail of the mill being lit up like a prism was really fun. Mads, I specifically wanted to echo that note about the how it's worse than that. I really loved the one, I mean, it didn't come to pass, but the notion that they were going to use Val as the scapegoat, that was such a fun twist. And then all of the sort of descriptions of the environment felt so vivid. Like it really felt like I could see the place. And like the whole like pulsing of the portal, and just like it felt very, very concrete. And wishes. I'm excited to see what the next threat will be revealed, but then also really excited to see more of the mastermind.
Star for Mads, you asked fantastic leading questions this evening. The clarification questions, the little twists that you added made this session so much more, and it was delightful. Mark, when we first set about creating these characters and realized that there was no one that really specialized in violence and action, I did not expect there to be a moment out of an action movie of at the very beginning of you vaulting up Marybelle into this open window and using this cane to pull her up, or pull them up, wasn't something that I envisioned happening. I imagined it to be much more, let's finesse our way in, and seeing that moment, that burst of action was delightful. Amanda, that small detail of the railing denting, because you are heavier than a person. Like, aside from the laughter that's inhuman, the fact that there's no feelings, nothing behind the eyes, it was that moment that really cemented you aren't a person. You are a construct, because this thing designed for safety, to keep a person back, just started buckling under your weight. And it's just such a small detail that added so much. And Rob, Val is so stoic, constantly. We went out at night and we've done did investigative work, and I tarried off to fuck all, quite literally. And you stayed on course. You kept the investigation going. I thought it's just so in character, and I want to see the moment where you can't keep course, where Val has to break off because continuing on is impossible or unattainable. I guess my wish is to see what happens when Val has to be something other than a stoic, chivalrous knight.
I mean, I feel like I'm cheating because it's like I'm like, oh yeah, that one and that one, and that one too. Like all of the stars that were mentioned are amazing, and like all of the little details tonight were just mwah, chef's kiss, because very, very character driven, very descriptive, very, I mean, like the masks were just beautiful, as like tragic or as twisting as it was, or even just as sedate, I guess. I mean, I was not expecting quite a few of these. you know, Kemuel, like reaching out and connecting with Hattie in the way that they did, or Marybelle, like really showing off, as you say, I mean, like as a construct and not like, you know, someone emulating being human. And then Val, the stoicism of buffeted by time and just going in and out of these different places and hopefully not going mad. And then Daymond, of course, you know, I, it's terrible, but the first thing that came to my mind was Sexy Beach. It was beautiful. I loved it. That was great. I mean, thank you for accepting and saying yes and to the to the sensual interlude. Kudos. Yeah, some people may not like, you know, may not like that, and I just appreciate you running with it. But if you did want to go into, like, you know, actual investigation, please do. You know, just let me know. So everybody did wonderfully tonight. I enjoyed myself a lot. You made it, again, very easy to run this because, you know, all I have to do is ask you a question and you guys just go. And I enjoy watching what you do. So yeah, we're going to get into day phase next time, introducing the new threat and going into some vulnerable moves, of course, to make sure that anybody that has any conditions can wipe that off. And yeah, can't wait to see what happens with the new threat and dealing with meantimes. Yeah, meantimes is going to keep messing you up until you actually resolve it, okay? So again, I appreciate you all. This was yet again a wonderful session and more of the same for my wishes. Absolutely. I'm just trying to remember if somebody rolled a 12 on an information move, which I usually write down things and I don't see it. I see a lot of like high
I rolled
rolls for
12,
night
but it
moves.
wasn't on an information move. It
Okay,
was
just making
something
sure. I
else.
mean, like I said, I see a lot of like 11s, 12s on night moves, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something with an information move because I know how you guys just love to get to the mastermind clues quickly. It's great. It's awesome. So, anyway, if I did, no problem. You know, we seem to be liking to take our leisurely time with getting to know our characters and possibly the mastermind whenever that happens. And yeah, enjoying myself immensely, and I have you all to thank for that. So next time then. Next week, just looking forward to seeing you guys do some vulnerable moves, and I will introduce the new threat. I'll probably change my mind about 5 times before that happens, so we'll see. Okay? You guys have a wonderful week. Happy gaming to you all, alright? See ya!